Sanje Riba La Shazon Devarishavan Jidin Jemba Jivon Deva Kalo Lana Meva Hada Nanje Sanje Shem Benjawan Shanja Tuba La Sate Jamba Jumden Di Shin Shamba Rajamba Yana Dobe Sanje Riba La Shazon Devarish Jidin Jemba Jivon Deva Kalo Jiva Lana Hada Menanje Demba Sanje Jumden Dembe Shaja Tuba La Sate Rojo Jazu Demba Jumden Di Shin Shamba Rajamba Yana Dobe Sanje Riba Shazon Demba Devarishavan Jidin Jemba Jivon Deva Kalo Hada Menanje Demba Sanje Jumden Dembe Shaja Tuba La Sate Rojo Jazu Kanze Ganyan Zowa Jadam Zaya Sajen Den Nakumba Maninji Den Den Ancho Jazon Deze Keba Jama Namda Gunga Chadu Suzawa Yishi Jazu Sege Bumbo Chaban Jiden Sumna Lame Bumbo Chunye Jama Senjo Demba Chimen Davishe Sendo Rawa Jama Dire Jara Seba Suma Nyame Kenje Jama Bodu Jen Batum J. Kembe, the Maba Solomon Danger. Shenshama Sha, the Lord Tabian de Shacha, giving us on that. Chidu de la Majoju was Shingu Jala Cha, and Chenet Lavatala, Rabdu Ne, Shingatama, Ginjana Yacha. The Wajia Misha Shangawa Puzos of Rangus and Tena Sanje Dema Yakamara Rim, Jumasa, Chibrit. Milan Loda Jenda when the Jishanum, the Derata Sonam the Tanjis, Quantum, the Kinji Tatu, Gadanada, Chivella, Tribe, Sibes, and Joan Show.
To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be king, teacher of gods and humans. To you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer whom the shut your hand, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans. To you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer whom the shut your hand, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans. To you, the completely and fully awakened one, blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer whom the shut your hand, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When most supreme among humans you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dhamma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy figure qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community attending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or bubble. a dream, a flash of lightning and cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from the ocean of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanjejana Zojejana Ma Chanju Bada Dangin Zojebe Sonam Je and Rola Benji Sanjejana Zojejana Ma Chanju Bada Dangin Zojebe Sonam Je and Rola Benji Sanjejana Zojejana Chanju Bada Dane Jazoje and Dangin Zojebe Sonam Je and Rola Benji Sanjejana Chanju Bada Dane Jazoje and Dangin Zojebe Sonam Je Rola Benji Sanjejana
I go for refuge and tell enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I have created by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge and tell enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I have created by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge and tell enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I created by practicing giving and other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Simje tamje je damba chakyu samba namje yaba pabe kazana je jebo nyangen nande chonje nondo wa nanje teben ye je pada me baba sanje me je so namba ta ya ni kuje ta chom ko sumba me bande bada ga ma be so da ge nyo so me ba ta da ma de ne na pumba da na number de ba kam na me den ba je je na ma da bande ba na shi do ji yo zo do wa Sivale Jubu Chuo Nanga, Yishion Luzo, Devadam, Sanjum Dedi, Yishelane, Van and the Devala Mineva Yanda Vanijatan, Simjatam Jena, Sana Jupate, the Dania Sanjum Dedi, Yakuchi, and the Yanda Vanamusu, the Bechan, Tomageva Padoki, Mandeva Yozo, Vayozo, Vayozo, Chama, Yanda Vato, Neva, Ducheva, Yawata, Teton. Kebana jo sozo ranga jo ba chimle ne ye la waso be chende wala ne ya ba jo mo so be chakyo mi dem ba me jende ba dan dem ba te ba yo ba jo ba che ba wo te ba chimbe be ne ne ba shu ba ba shu timra shu ba te mo je be we zo jo ba cha je be we zo jo ba so na je be je shin yo zo jo wa che ba je be no ko do je be no zo jo ba che kang ye ya tu zen ye su na ta wa tan je ba me che re ta me shu Kodam de la Chase. Yeah, I think we should read from this. Let me say, meditative. Yeah, maybe I'll read from 361. 61. Meditative absorptions definitely revealing the suchness. So this was from the sutra, not hearing it from another. It's like another or others. Not hearing it from others. The knower of the world taught these two truths by himself. So they are conventional truth and ultimate truths. Nowhere does a third truth exist. So now this is talking about the true truths the Buddha has revealed by himself. So this present how the Buddha independently taught the true truths and how all objects of knowledge are encompassed,
Yeah.
Within the category of the true truths. Then the sutra states, for the sake of it. Yeah, this was, I remember this why I read it.
I had we were on 364.
Huh?
King of Meditation Sutra, maybe?
364.
That's at least where my bookmarker was.
364, I don't know. Yeah, not 64.
Okay.
Just then, for the sake of engendering the faith and bliss in those beings journeying to the state of Sugatas, the conquerors has revealed the conventional truth. This is for the sake of helping people of the world. This standards declare the Buddha's the purpose in teaching conventional truth. Next, the same sutra, the 6 realms of the beings, revealed among sentient beings, hell beings, and animal and hungry ghosts, those of the demigods classes, humans and gods. The lines among the human label this conventional truth. Lower castes and all, and likewise higher castes, the wealthy household, poor household, labored class, that of the servant, the class of woman, man, and neutrals. Whatever the classifications of the beings there might be, you, the peerless one, have revealed them to be transient, right? Transient. Having comprehends their truth, you were the reversed conventions. Lower of the world, you taught this truth to others. These lines indicate the way the conventional truth was taught. Next, the sutra says, beings who delighted in the surface level of truth revolves in the secular existence with 8 worldly concerns, gain and loss, pleasing and unpleasing, praise and disparagement, pleasure and pain. When they gain something, the attachment for it arises. When they do not gain, this too causes the distress. Those notes spoke of here that should be known likewise. Through these 8 diseases, their mind are harmed. These lines show how clinging to the everyday conventional truth as real and the delighting in it involves acting with 8 worldly concerns and how they're tormented by these. So beings revolve in the secular existence by presenting the first 2 worldly concerns. The Sutra state how we should understand remaining ones as well. Those that are not mentioned explicitly, those who speak of this conventional truth as being the ultimate, recognize them as having flawed intellect. So this line explained how those who assert the conventional truth, the 6 classes of beings and so forth, as being the ultimate. So that is to say, as having existence, we should recognize having, distorted understanding. So these lines indicate how Buddhist schools that assert this have flawed in philosophical. So the conventional truth as a truly existing or the ultimate truth or intrinsic is, some kind of erroneous in intellects.
So who speak of the unattractive as attractive. So not just being mistaken is the wrong perceptions. The conventional truth as a truly existence is a misconception or the wrong perception, like seeing unattractive as attractive, pain as a joy, what is not self as a self, and what is impermanent as a permanent. Who delighted thus in these grasp at signs. Now, this was saying that, how do you really come up with this idea that in minority school says there is no external reality, and Sodanic school says every conditional things are truly exist, ultimately exist, and medieval autonomous school says every phenomenon has intrinsic nature. So all these are not only mistaken, it is wrong perceptions. And they all are grasping at signs. They are grasping at their own mental projection. So should they ever hear the Sugata's word, when the Sugata's word is like a Heart Sutra, uh, even the five aggregates are empty of intrinsic existence. So that kind of words, terrified, they will not comprehend, will shun them. Or some, they interpret that in a different way. Or some says this is not the Buddha's teaching. Having forsaken the Sugata's word, they will experience relentless suffering in the hell. It's not because of the Buddha they go to in the hell realm. It's not understanding the ultimate truths and followed with misconceptions. So they fall in the hell realm or any condition of suffering. So they seek happiness, but inappropriately. So which means, who even who was committing the karma to fall in the lower realm, like hell realm, animal realm. So they're all, driven by seeking happiness. So the way they choose the path to gain the happiness is inappropriately. And so the childish will endure the 8 type of suffering. So this line explains how those who are habituated to be 4 distortions, as well as non-Buddhists tainted by the doctrinal tenets, affirming such distortions like Atmas, permanent I, liberations gained through, exhaustion of the consciousness and the body. So these are affirming the distortions, will turn away where they to hear the Buddha's word. Because of this, they will depart to the hell realms. Though they may search for the bliss of the liberations, since it is through the incorrect means. Not only will they attain the liberations, they will instead be tormented by the vast amount of suffering. So I think this should not be understood like religiously. Like if you have no faith in the Buddha, then you go to hell. It's not like that, right? It's because you don't understand Buddha's teaching, or you just emotionally reject the Buddha's teachings, and then what you do is you go with your own misconceptions, you follow your negative emotions. Yeah. So in this way you may fall in the lower realms or continue to stay in the second existence. whoever understands with how say undistorted minds now, who understand as Buddha has taught about the true truth, the teaching of the benefactors of the world will transcend all birth. So you go beyond, you end the birth, attaining the true peace, just like a snake that shuns its old skin, abandoning the old skin. Like all of these phenomena are devoid of the intrinsic natures, devoid. He who hears this word and experiences the joy, emptiness, signlessness, or the ultimate, will attain unexcelled enlightenment. So conqueror, you saw the aggregates to be empty, you saw the elements and the sense bases to be likewise, that our sense town are devoid of signs. O sage, is you have seen it, seen as it is. I think this quite a aggregates to be empties. 5 aggregates are empty intrinsic existence. The elements, the sense base to be likewise. The elements are empty intrinsic existence. And the derivative or the outcome elements like sense faculties and object of the sense faculties are also the empty of intrinsic existence. So then what you can experience as the sense towns are devoid of signs. So I think this is talking about it from the point of view of the empty, and then you will find, you can experience things through the sense faculty, but sense towns are empty of any sign of existence. But the empty of any signs of existence means there's no sign of anything that exists, but still appears in the form, sound, smell, taste, textures. So you still experience at the same time, you find nothing really have, grounded, with any kind of basis. Nothing really exists out there. So then, which means this is pretty much like the experience of the illusional object, So you call dumatabu, So this kind of experience through how is it continuously meditate in emptiness. When you continue to meditate in emptiness, and then you will experience these kind of things. You eat, you smell, you hear the sound, you see the form, but you at the same time, because the powerful, that meditating in the emptiness, its influence or its kind of, it will make it lighter. The things that you see and smells, you understand. Nothing really has basis to exist, but relatively, it appears in a different form. Some in color, some sound, some smell, taste, textures.
So the logic is so strong that no matter what you see, you understand the truth.
So because you have meditated in emptiness and again, now this, you're seeing things through from the empty point of view. You understand there's nothing, but what do you call it? So things are, no matter how you understand the emptiness, things that appear to the sensual perceptions. So this is a powerful experience from this is called the Jumatabu, thinking so Jumatabu, Nyamsha Namgatabu means meditative equippers experience the space of the empty, and the subsequent, the experience of the sixth consciousness experience illusion-like phenomena. So Jeto, is a post-meditation and meditations. Meditations experience the space, the post-meditation experience illusions. That's. So having stated how, if one understands the meaning of the profound truth in an undistorted manner, one will attain freedom from the cyclic existence. Sutra's response to the questions, how does one gain such understanding? By explaining that one will do so if one experiences joy when one hears that all phenomena are devoid of intrinsic nature, and so on, and then they comprehend this truth. In brief, the conventional truth was presented in the prior set of stanzas. The ultimate truth is presented here in this set. The element referred to the session, the elements, like empty elements, like talking about, referring to the earth, water, wind, heat. And sense basis refer to the sensory objects such as form, sound, smell, taste, textures. So when we have this kind of experience, then so every day is freedom. Every moment, no matter how world is turned into up and down, you're always in peace. So yeah, sense-based written here. So yeah, sometimes you can also think like if you try to identify what does it mean, the four elements. So 4 elements: the air, heat, the water, earth, and what does it mean 5 element, and then editing the space. And then sometimes it says the constituents, 6 constituents of the element. Now that element added the consciousness. So air, heat, water, earth, space, and consciousness. So together, what they create, together, and what it creates, what they creates. So they create form, sound, smell, taste, textures. Together, by creating this form, sound, smell, taste, textures, they also create the imagination of the form, sound, smell, taste, textures. And by creating 5 sensual objects, 5 image of the 5 sensual object, and then again what it creates is then the the relations and continuities, so it's a mental construct. So the continuity, the relations, and the cause and effect. So this kind of first, 6 constituents together create 5 sensual objects with that image, and then the construct of the characteristics. So then, because of you have meditated emptiness for long, now this all realization, the wisdom, is trying to see things. What really appears in your consciousness are 6 perceptions. So you're seeing empty at the same time, and then relatively, or the illusion-like forms that appears. Yeah, so then, with that, by constructing the relations, the continuities, imaginations, then we create favorable, unfavorable, and with that, and when favorable and unfavorable appears, and not to attach to the favorable, not to detach to the unfavorable. So I think it also suggesting that if you do not understand emptiness, and what happened, and you see all of them inherently exist, intrinsically exist, and with everything is intrinsically exists, and favorable, unfavorable is so powerful, powerful to you, So when favorable comes, you have no control, and you're kind of fixate or attached to it. And unfavorable comes, and you detach, and you have disliking things.
Yes, quick question. So when you said the 6 constituents together create form, sound, smell, taste, texture, that's referring to the external. And then when you say it creates the imagination of, is that the internal?
Yeah, internal, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Mental projections. The mental projections, there's a many levels, right? Some are grosser level, some are more subtle. Right? The grosser level, the imaginations. So imagine, and then you are just projecting things in the form. So like color, smell, taste. So that's you're projecting in the mental projections in the form. You just give them a form. This is smell, this is color, a sound. And then you not only stop there, you also make the relations.
Right.
So make relations. And you also see the continuity of that.
Right.
And then also because of that continuity, now you say this is better than that, this is better than this, this is worse than that. So that kind of this very subtle mental construct, then everything is comes into their own. Each they exist their kind of their own mind or their own life. Everything become very solid by themselves. Because there's sometimes maybe in Tibet maybe I'm saying some people unreasonably upset. So that's called Rivonamdi means the rabbit being upset by thinking that sky will fall on him. Right? So the rabbits are always afraid that what if the sky fall on me? I'm tiny. So this sky is too big. So this is really kind of happen. So the form and so on. So how can there be liberation for those who lack the knowledge of conventional truth? How can there be liberation? How can there be liberation for those who lack the knowledge of conventional truth as a mere designation? So which, kind of saying that, yes, you have the knowledge of conventional, you have knowledge of conventional, because you perceive them, but you don't have the knowledge of conventional is designation, mere designation. So how can those can be there can be there how can there be the liberation for those who lack the knowledge of the conventional truth as the mere designations? And the mere designations, to understand, to have this kind of knowledge, you have to understand the ultimate truth, emptiness, in terms of the absence of intrinsic existence. So therefore, those who propound, right, consciousness only have entered only an erroneous path. So now they're saying the mind-only school, who think that and everything is just a mind. The mind is the only thing that truly exists. So the presentation of the conventional truth is the means. Now, it kind of says that the emptiness is very, very kind of important, right? Critical or crucial in this path. There's to present the emptiness without the conventional, without through the conventional, you cannot, explain, or you cannot teach the emptiness. So the presentation of the conventional truth is the means. So you should, there's a sutra that says, Gyawashibe Medashi. So when you understand something has born, and with that reason, you can understand how things are disintegrating. When you understand the disintegration, you understand the impermanence. And then you look into the impermanent. What is the change? And then you understand the emptiness. So origination, disintegrations, impermanence, then there's the ultimate truth you can understand. So without going through the conventional truth, no possible to understand emptiness. Therefore, the conventional truth is a means. This is the stated in the King of the Meditative Sutra. So here, reality, which is devoid of letters. So why emptiness cannot be shown or be taught without the conventional? So the big saying, emptiness, the meaning of the emptiness is the devoid of letters. It has never really have introduced or through the letters. And then it cannot be listened. Just, the raw meaning of the emptiness cannot be expressed through the letters and cannot be listened or understand through your air consciousness. And this cannot be, teach as it is by superimposing onto what is unchanging. Still some listen. Now, if the kind of, the emptiness, you cannot really nakedly understand without help of conventional languages, the concepts. So, and that is one thing. And then whatever the language has, construct in your mind or create any image in your mind or any characters in your mind, that is not emptiness. Emptiness is devoid of lack of characteristics, right? So it cannot be explained or shown as it is. It cannot be listened as it is. So, but now say, and then how do we listen the teaching of the emptiness? How can we understand the emptiness? And then says, intellectually construct of the meaning of the characters, and through the characters, and we can, go, we can understand the meaning of the emptiness. Like as I'm arising, disintegrations, impermanence, then continuities, then we say, what is continuing? Is there any entity that you can hold on, say, this is continuing? So then you cannot find anything that is continuing, but still you see the continuity. So the continuity, then you come to understand continuity does not mean one single entity is repeatedly happening. Continuity means one sees and another arises. That sees and another arises. One gone and one comes. One gone and one comes. So there is no single entity repeatedly existing or constantly existing. So then we says, so if this is the case, so I have no, we can say, continuity is not about one single entity. Continuity is the whole, as a whole, of many things, things that pass and things arises, pass and arise, pass and arise. So whatever the past, whatever the thing that has passed, not continuing. Whatever arising is not continuing from the past, but it is the continuity of one that has already passed. Because without preceding that thing which is past, this may not happen. Yeah, so today is Sunday. Without preceding the past of the Saturday, Sunday will not happen. So Sunday, therefore, Sunday is continuity of the Saturday, which has already passed. So when the Sunday is happened, therefore, Saturday is not reappearing because it has passed. Sunday is newly, it's happened. So therefore, it is not coming from Saturday. Right. So as a result of this, as a result of the Saturday, so therefore, Sunday is the continuity of the Saturday. So when you think in this, in impermanence, more closely and more, more, and settled and more profound, and then you will kind of, reveal the emptiness. So now saying that through this mental projection or the mental construct, so that construct this is a little bit unchanging, it says. This may be not unchanging. It's a constant, superimposing onto what is constant. It's unchanging, right? Sometimes. sometimes translators rush. Maybe he must be translating this on Sunday. Superimposing onto what is constant, what is kind of what has constant in your mind. Still, some listen. So therefore, people can see there's something to listen. There's a characteristic to understand. So listen, and then through those mental constructs, the master or the teacher who tried to explain emptiness through the mental construct. The first two lines of the stanzas that presents how things do not exist on the ultimate level. So it is a relation to things devoid of letters on the ultimate level that through superimpositions. I think superimpositions, and there's different projections and superimpositions. Superimposition is already superimposed, means you are wrongly characterizing, right? Projections not necessarily wrongly wrongly project. So when I think of the car, so I project in my mind the image of the car. So I'm not superimposing the car.
So here the translation should have been projection.
Yeah, projections. By projecting onto what is constant. The subject which is superimposing is the wrong perceptions. The object which has superimposed by the subject is eternalism, eternalize. So through the conceptual, so that is through the conceptual designations, one comes to listen as well as to teach about it. The Sanskrit term for the letter is akshara, which refers both to letter and unchanging. So again, he got unchanging back. So here however it is more appropriate to render the phrase as a devoid of letters, although the terms superimpose often refer to exaggerating what does not exist as existence. So what is not as is, we should not confine the meaning of the word to this alone. So now he was saying that the translator is trying to indicating superimposition is exaggerations. So now here are saying, suppose in this way, if emptiness is could not be expressed as it is by the letter and cannot be listened as it is, then how do you? And then we say conventional. So the conventional are not superimposition. Is the convention is a reality.
I was trying to remember. I don't know if this is Holiness talked about it, but that there were 3 qualities of establishing conventional existence.
Yeah.
And I think what it was that it was agreed upon, that there was something that is not. I can't remember what they were, but it was. I don't know if it was from the Lamrim, from Tsongkhapa.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
So first is kind of like is agreed through experience. So we say, I experienced the color, form, sound, smell, taste. So it's very evident to me. So therefore, I have no doubt to not agree. And the second, if I say there's a color to see, and there is no conventional knowledge could harm, could disapprove it. So there's no convention at all in this world to disapprove colors not exist. There's no smell to smell, right? So that's the level 2. And level 3 is, so the color, although, the ultimate reasonings can only negate color that is intrinsic, but it is not destroying whole existence of the color. Right. It's only disapproving, it is not intrinsic. So it's agreed from your experience, and it's not harmed or refuted by the conventional knowledge, even it's not being annihilated by the ultimate reasoning. So therefore, the validity of the conventional reality, is valid. So when the conventionals are the validly exist, it's not superimposition. So that's what I'm saying. By superimposition, instead of saying by projecting onto what has construct in your mind, then you can listen. You can listen, you can teach.
Bishop, here the letter, the word akshar, also referred to as unchanging, really means that constructed also?
Yeah, akshara is just, consumed in a different meaning. And most of the time people say the akshara is the letter. And then sometimes we say it's akshara truth. So now it's saying this is no change. Sometimes, in the Hindi letter, the last one, aksha tra jans. And there's last, in Tibetan is ra la sha sa ha a. Those are the aksharas. So it's kind of to end, So it's kind of like, and from because it's end, now this is the final, And sometimes it's akshara is, sometimes people in the local people have the expressions saying that this person's, very doubt, even the akshara in the donkey form, he could not understand. If the letter in the donkey form, this person don't know how to understand. Sometimes, bass, actually in buffalo, like a like big like buffalo, this person do not understand. So this is kind of I think this maybe is not this way when you translate this is really making a difference, right? It's a superimposing. How can you understand emptiness through exaggerations? So what is not exist as a existence, what is not as is. we should not confine the meaning of the word to this alone. The term can also refer in general sense to something possessed on the basis of the being imputed by the conceptual thought. So what it says, term can also refer to 미술이 찌를 또배 따내서 대코나를 미술이 찌를 또배 따는 좀 그렇죠. 단위에도 뭐 코나 된다 못하고 대리지 되는데 뭐 코나 주. So the term is referring to conventional. Conventional. What else do we say? Terminologies. Something that is presented to be existing, in the mundanely. So terminologies can be referred to the general sense to something presented on the basis of being imputed by the conceptual thought. So the imputed projections, is not necessarily superimpositions. You can impute or impose like group of people with organizations. You can impute or impose new kind of group, new nations. You say, so from now on, we are such nations, So before we are part of that country, now we are independent. Now we are going to call it, it's such nations. Yugoslavia. How's that? Czechoslovakia. So you can name bitter melons nations. So it imputes, it's also imputing, and it is also projecting, but it's not necessarily superimposed. You can name anything. You can just gather 2 or 5 people and says, we are this organization, this group. So that's not exaggerations. So if, you can exaggerate, like, saying there are 5 people and who's, plan to steal, the group of thieves, saying we are the freedom fighter. That is exaggerations, So what they are doing actually is they steal things, but they're named, as the freedom fighters. That exaggerations. So imputed by the conceptual thought. So it is by the abiding in the conventional truth alone that the ultimate truth is revealed. So through those mental projections, understand how it is being projected, how it's being projected, how it really exists, how it really exists. It exists by means of the, from the essence of the all basis, or it is existing through the force of merely through the force of the name and thought. So then one comprehend the ultimate truth on this basis, then one attain the ultimate truth of nirvana. I think this is very, very true. This Nagarjuna says, so when you see the emptiness of the color is not intrinsically exist. So the very emptiness of the color, when the mind, abide or tune into the meaning of the emptiness of the color, and you find, everything dissolves, everything pacified in there. And why don't you see? The liberation is there. So nirvana is there. So anytime, when the mind enters in emptiness, and you find all the mental projections disappears, dissolving in emptiness. So the whole mental construct, the projections pacified or dissolved in emptiness, is the is the way you see your mind is being free from mental projections. So when your mind is being free from the mental projections, and you are free from all the afflictive emotions, because afflictive emotions feed by mental projections. So when there is no food to eat for the mental afflictive emotions, a deluded mind, and these all kind, die with strife. So emotional constantly feed by mental projections. When the projections all dissolve in emptiness, when you see it, and there is you are seeing nirvana, right? So you have to kill the negative emotional by stuff. So nothing to eat. And they be weak and weaker and weaker. And then, let's say, and then there's nothing left, to bury it. So it will die and evaporate. No ashes left from the delusions. So this is what we're saying, that in that they comprehend the ultimate truth on this basis, then one attain the ultimate truth of nirvana. I think, this is also, you can, it reminds you in the right sitting sutras, Buddha says, Bhikshu, whoever sees the dependent rising, sees the Dharma. Who sees the Dharma sees the, Buddha or Nirvana. Say, when you see the Dharma, it's because you understand dependent rising, now you see the ultimate Dharma, ultimate truth, and you see the Buddha, you see the enlightenment, you see the liberation, you see the Nirvana. I think this is the very, very essence of the practice of the Buddhism. So if you don't really have this kind of understanding, freedom is, freedom means, when you think about the freedom or liberations, and you have to understand what binds it, what holds the mind, how mind being mind in suffering, right? So then say, what is not letting it free is negative emotions. And what negative emotions the feed with, what is feeding with? Is negative emotional because of your heat? Is negative emotions feed by your, moistures, air that you breathe in, and it constantly feeding negative emotion, or the color that you see is feeding negative emotion? And we say no, not because of the color, not because of the sound, not because of the smell, not because of the taste or the texture, so not because of the imaginations, not because of the heat, not because of emotions. The negative emotional delusional mind is constantly feed on mental projections. So when you say it's a feed on mental projections, means how you find something that is delicious and eatable, and you think there is something I can go closer, I can put it in my mouth, which means is solid. So negative emotion are constantly seeing all mental projections are solid and concrete. And then it is favorable, is solidly favorable, and unfavorable, solidly unfavorable. So in order for to abandon, to eradicate all negative emotions, you have to, you have to take the feed of negative emotions. You have to destroy what is feeding. So how can you destroy the, what do you say, the feed or?
Yeah, feed.
Yeah, right? So you just meditate in the emptiness. Then all these mental construct, the conventional, are, you can, it sees in there. It dissolves, it disappears in there, the emptiness. So, yeah. And that also kind of, the implying that, if your faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, your faith is, generating or producing, attachment towards the Buddha, attachment towards the Dharma, attachment towards yourself and your future, So then you're still feeling with faith, you're feeling negative emotions. And sometimes the tenets that you just follow, like saying, oh, Prasangika school is, final, philosophical point of view. And I like the Prasangika school, so therefore I don't like the minority school. So that is also feeling the negative emotion. And the practice with generosity is the constant feeding your, the grasping of self, self-cherishing, and again, it's feeding negative emotion. So yeah, and the fundamental wisdom says, Nagarjuna, without relying on the conventional, the ultimate truth cannot be taught. And without realization of ultimate truth, nirvana cannot be attained. So how refuting dependent nature is not similar to refuting world conventions. This is also kind of big, I find it's very inappropriate translations. How refuting dependent natures. So the Prasangika school do not refute dependent nature, the concept of dependent nature. The Prasangika school accept what they're refuting other power natures. So the minority school, finds that the cause and the conditions, the effect always powered by other. So which means effect has born from other. So the Prasangika school says nothing born from others, nothing born by itself, nor from the both, not without cause. So it should be translated that refuting other powered nature is not similar to the refuting of worldly conventions. Yeah, sometimes they don't really see the significance of the, some specific terminology that used in a specific school of thought. So the mind-only school, specifically, they want to call anything that's conditional is other power nature. Exchange one. You're the barley sprout, powered by other, which are barley seed and soil and water and heats like that. So, and the Buddha is giving teaching, how say, without, sometimes people use relentlessly or, without any tired, but they're constantly giving teachings. And my new school says the Buddha is powered by compassion. So Buddha is powered by compassion. Compassion is the other, which is powering the Buddha, right? Overpowering the Buddha and forcing the Buddha to not to get tired. So this kind of mind-only school use these terminologies. So now we have to go against that. This particular terminologies. We are not against the dependent arising or the dependent nature. So how refuting dependent nature is not similar to refuting worldly conventions. So when we, in Prasangika school, when they refute the other power natures, we are not refuting or annihilating the conventional reality. So objections, if you, Madhyamika says such as inconsiderate things to us. My new school says, you have humiliated us for a long time. So we will not tolerate it. The only skill you display in eliminating the other powered positions, others' positions, eliminating the others' positions. So, and if in employing such skill, you eliminate the intrinsic existing of the dependent nature on the ground that evidence do not support it. What is saying, no? The only skill in you display in eliminating others' positions. So it's kind of like if we be informal, so that you perform that you are very intelligent, that you are very skillful, very intellectually, you have disapproved of the refuting and other schools. There are kind of positions. There are what do you call it? You are kind of refuting others' assertions, So now saying that the reason that you, for example, you say there's a nothing has born by itself, not from others, not from both, not without cause. Therefore, there is no such thing as the other power natures, So the mind-only school sees, with this kind of reasoning, every characters the Prasangika school has presented, nothing born by itself, nothing born from others, born from both without a cause. So the minority school cannot bring any reason to dispute on each the characters. And the minority school says, you may think that you are very intelligent, and you can destroy others' the positions. And remember that when you refute other power natures, you're also refuting the conventional reality, which means every indication so your skillful intellectual is nothing but annihilation. Employing such skills eliminated intrinsic existence of the dependent natures on the ground that evidence does not support it. We too will eliminate the conventional known eliminate conventions, right? Known to you by simply stating that they are untenable and employ the proofs used for refuting self arising from other and so on. So if the minority school, if very kind of, they understand the conventional truth, so they should, they should set the reasoning to, to disapprove each of the Prasangika school reasoning. Each character is like nothing born from itself, nothing born from others, nothing born from both, nothing without cause. So instead of they try to, they could not really dispute on that, and the minority school saying, the way you refute things is also the refuting the conventional reality. So you may think you are very intellectual and very, clever, but, with your reasoning, you are annihilating the conventional reality. So replied, saying, imagine someone robs, Prasangika school says, imagine someone robs you of wealth you accumulated since beginningless time through inconceivable hardship. So you have cultivated the merits through hardship, and this the wealth that you have accumulated robbed by someone, from the beginningless. If another person's, if another person's pretending to be friend to this robber were to give him the poisonous meal and take back your stolen wealth for you. Do you understand that? So you would be happy like this. We are actually helping you by taking away the object of your grasping, the true existing of the dependent natures. So I think here they're saying that we understand the the thief that's robbing your mirrors, which is misconceptions, the grasping of mental construct. So we are helping you to get rid of that, So, yeah. The other person is pretending to be friend to this robber, or to give him the poisonous meal and take back the sword. We would be happy. So like this, we are actually helping you to taking away the object of grasping, the true existence of dependent natures. If in person, if in response you, drive joy from harming us, this would be fine by us. On our part, we will take it as a compliment, as a good thing. So, what is it now? So Prasangik school says, I'm the one who is trying to protect you from that robber. So do you think, so I'm the one who's, so you just spit on me, punch on me. So, so yeah, the manner in which you assert the dependent natures. Now this is Chalikita's root text. The manner in which you assert your dependent natures. Dependent natures. I think again dependent natures, he says.
Should be other power.
Other power, yeah. Assert your dependent natures. We do not accept even on the conventional. So the other power natures, the meaning that yours, other power natures, not only it is not making sense, not only in the ultimate truth, even in the conventional, there is no other power nature. We don't accept that. And yet to gain the result for the sake of world, we speak of things, the existings, even through they do not exist. So Prasangik school says, we don't really accept the conventional and the other power nature, in the both level of the truth, ultimate truth and conventional truth. But that does not really, make us annihilation of the conventional reality, because we accept the color that we see, form, sound, smell, taste. We accept. And we are accepting those conventional reality from the perspective of the worldly knowledge or conventional knowledge. We are not accepting these to be, truth or the reality not from the arahats, the wisdom. So rather we accept that from the conventional. So which means we don't accept the other power natures, but we still, we are not annihilations. We are not annihilating because we accept existing of the form, sound, smell, taste, textures.
We are not accepting other power nature because other power nature, the word has a sense of a true existence in.
Yeah, yeah. So the bond from others, the cause and effect are the different. So that kind of, the concept is not making sense to us. The barley sprout is no different from the barley seed. So barley seed is no different from the barley sprout. Yogurt is no different from the milk. Milk is no different from the yogurt. So we cannot accept the yogurt has born from other, which is the milk. So then you have every day you have to wake up, from the other one who slept last night. So other person left last night, he slept, so therefore I have to wake up. When you wake up, and then you have to make the breakfast for the other person who is having breakfast. Every person is become the other. So as to the manner in which you, Chittamata, assert your dependent nature as something real and existing by virtue of its essence, such as is found in the line of the 30 verses that says Sumjuba. I think 30 verses is Vasubandhu. Vasubandhu or his. For when one is not seen, the other isn't. So here it's almost saying that when one is not seen, other isn't. So I think not seen is the same as found not exist. So I think Sumjuba, these 30 verses is proponents of the mind-only school. This is when external realities, when we go, in the particle levels, there is no any form or the color, can be generated or produced from it. So therefore, there's nothing can be seen. Therefore, it is not seen. So it's external not exists. So in this way, the Prasangik school says, Chandrakit is saying that. Chandrakit, for when one is not seen, others isn't, which you accept in your own systems, autonomous and cognize arias gnosis. Yeah, so it's the same. It's almost like the saying, like as you are saying that in your system, you says the reason that you are not accepting external realities, so the color is not exist, from or from the particle levels, minute particle levels, a collection of the minute particle levels. There's no any condition to produce any form of the color or the shape. So therefore, external reasons, external reality, external form is not exist. So same thing, from the Arya's perspective, from the Arya's wisdoms, right? So like the wisdom that understands the emptiness, or wisdom that reveals the emptiness. From that point of view, so the conventional reality is not seen, right? Because all mental projections in the from the experience of the wisdom realizing emptiness sees that every conventional reality, before it exists, the conventionally, now from the point of view of the emptiness, everything seems to be disappearing and cease in emptiness. So so we are not saying from the eyes, from the point of view of the emptiness, everything seems to be, disappearing or kind of, dissolving in emptiness. So because of that, we cannot say, the conventional reality is not exist. The conventional realities are, from the point of view of the emptiness, is not exist. But it exists from the, from the point of view of the conventional knowledge, from the point of view of a mundane's perspective. So it's saying that ultimate, who sees the ultimate as it is, like Arya's wisdom, and who sees the conventional reality is the real in the mundane's perspective. The eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness. So this whole kind of, perception sees that each of the smell and taste and the textures are real. Now it is not saying you cannot say, my eye consciousness sees the real color, therefore eye consciousness, the color of the eye consciousness must exist ultimately. Or we cannot say, from the point of view of the emptiness, is the color is not found to be existing, therefore we are not going to accept the color to be existing. So Chalakita was saying, we are not saying that. You are saying the color is not external because it's not there in the particle level. So is the way you examine in the particle level is you're objectively is trying to trying to find what relatively existing in objective level. So what relatively existing is not found in objective level. From the objectivities, no relativity is existing, but relativity exists from the conventional perspective. So eye consciousness find the color to be existing, a color to be real. Ear consciousness find the sound to be real, sound to be existing. But sound and color are not exist in the face of the wisdom realizing emptiness. So if your mind is totally into the emptiness, and there's no sound, there's no color, no smell, no textures to be perceived, because your mind is, totally interested or having, excited in objectivity. So when your mind is totally into objectivity, and you cannot find any subjective existence, right? So this is not the ways to kind of, to annihilate the conventional not existing, because I could not see the object from the objectivities. Objective not find is not the opposite, not against the subjective finding. Yeah, right. So subjectively existing means that subjectively existing means is not objectively exist. Objectively not existing means it can subjectively exist. It's not the not the exclusive. It's not contradict. So Aristotle says, we, for one, do not accept such intrinsic reality even on a conventional levels. So intrinsic reality is not exist in the both level of the truth. So what do you accept then? You might ask. For me, even though things such as aggregates do not exist intrinsically, they are not, they are acknowledged, right, within the framework of the everyday world alone. So which means is that conventionally it known, it conceived, it is knowable object. So it's for the sake of the world alone that we speak of things exist. So this same like the mirror image is the same. The mirror image, it exists, while your face is countering the mirror. So mirror image is not intrinsic in the mirror. A mirror image is not, in here with the face, not in here with the face, not intrinsic in the mirror, but from the contact, when the face counters the mirror, and then it appears. So the mirror image is not intrinsic, it exists, but it is relatively exist. So you cannot say mirror image must not be existing because intrinsically not exist. Or mirror image is intrinsic, truly exists because it exists, in the relation with face in the mirror. Right.
We can say that mirror image truly exists.
So yeah, you cannot say the mirror image is truly exists because it exists in the relation of the mirror in the face.
That's what Chittamatra is saying.
Chittamatra, the Prasangic school is saying that, we are not the same, we are not presenting the ultimate truth like you in the minority school. So minority school, you're saying that, the color, the external is not exist. If color externally exists, it should be exist in the level of the particles. So the level of the particles, the color not exist. Therefore, color is not exist externally in general. So if we follow like you, then we also may say that, color, sound, smell, taste is not exist in general because it's not found to be existing from the point of view of emptiness. So like when you meditate in the emptiness of the self of person, and there is no person, there's no male, there's no female, right? So because it's not finding, from that perspective, from that point of view, and you cannot generally deny the existence of the person itself. So I think here as Chandrakirti is kind of trying to suggesting that because the minority school, you do not really understand how to present the true truth. So that's what, the main thing, yeah. So there are two modes in which aggregates and so on are presented from the perspective of the worldly convention. One is the Madhyamika's own presenting of things on the conventional level. Which is done So on the basis of acknowledging them from the perspective of the valid conventional cognition, but not done from perspective of the relational cognitions. Relational cognitions incurring into the ultimate nature of the things. So there's so there's a two truth, because the true subject has a different way of looking into the object. So one says you are objectively analyzing, and then you could not find anything to be named, anything to be conceived, anything to be imagined, because you find everything is just empty, disappearing, because the mode of your kind of way you try to see things is objectively. And then another perspective is the mode of the engaging an object is relatively, or when there's eye sense power, and then there's a light, and there's the form the light can hit on, and that light, with that form can cast the image to the sense power, then experienced by the consciousness. Then you can say, yes, there's a color. There's a color to see. So relational cognition incurring into the ultimate nature of the things. On some occasions, however, the aggregates and so on are presented in the scriptures as intrinsic existence for the specific purpose. But such assertions are not accepted as representing our own standpoint. They are acknowledged purely from the perspective of others. So refutation does not apply equally to these two distinct cases. So the acknowledging things in such manner from the perspective of the others is done to gain result for the purpose. So divisions, yeah. So now this is saying that divisions gain result. Prasangika school saying that, yes, there's a true truth. One is the truth that is revealed through, what do you call it? Incurring into the ultimate truths. You're objectively analyzing and you find one truth. And then another truth that you find in the relativities, with many things together and something happened to exist. So, and the Prasangika school says, and then this is how we say the true truth exists. So now at the end, the Prasangika school said, therefore we are saying nothing has truly existed. Nothing has truly existed. Nothing has intrinsically existed. And therefore, things can be exist relatively. And then the Prasangika school also saying that, when we kind of propounds that nothing intrinsically exists, everything is relatively existing, with that we are not really going against anything, the scripture line which says, no external, all things are, things are ultimately existing. And we accept those lines, even that is said by Buddha or Nagarjunas, right? So we say, this is for, we kind of interpret that, we take this as interpretable, and this is for those people who could not really understand. Maybe in this time or this life could not understand the Prasangika school point of view, but they can use this as a one step, and then they can go gradually improve their wisdom and then come to understand the Prasangika school point of view. So therefore, we also respect this is the minority school point of view, minority school Sohantika point of view, and middle ways, how's that, autonomous school point of view, and the non-Buddhist school point of views. I think in the Vasubandhus and the mini master, they also always say that, we always respect those ideas, who is, the ideas that you have, like a philosophical point of views. So, you just claim or asserting, right, the philosophical point of view that you have found through, seeking for the liberations, seeking for the enlightenment, and you find this point of views. So we respect that because of you, by kind of trying to find the liberation, you find this is the path. Because we cherish the way you seek the liberation, the way you seek the enlightenment. Yeah, any questions? Gain a result for the purpose, for a certain purpose, certain result, such manner from the perspective of the others is done to gain result or for a purpose. It is the skillful means to turn spiritual as well. Aspirants? What is the aspirant?
Aspirants.
Aspirants. It's not Advil.
No.
Are here for the inferred philosophical views and to help to gradually lead them to the realization of suchness. So we have so much the respect and how's that? Rejoice in this much you have understands. So minority schools, the point of view Sohantika school, because these can be the one of the first step or second step to entering the ultimate truth. So intention of this passage, entering the middle way, is certainly not to assert that every presentations is made from the perspective of others, or to assert that we do not maintain any views in our systems, that this cannot be case, can be discerned from the scriptures, Chalakirti cites, substantiate here. I think Prasangika school trying to say that you may find in the sutra some Buddhas say everything is just merely from the mind. This may you can find in the scripture. Buddha may have said that. And Buddha says, this is the truth of suffering. This is the truth of origin of suffering. So this is the truth of cessation of the suffering. This is the path, the true path that leads to the liberations. And whole 3 realms is just the mind. So there are many you can see, Now Prasangika school trying to say, when Buddha said everything is mind, 3 realms is nothing but the mind. So it does not mean like minority school thinks, no external. The mind, when Buddha says 3 realms is nothing but the mind, means is the creator of the 3 realms is the mind. There is no such independent creator, So truth of suffering, so when Buddha says, Buddha does not mean that suffering is truly exists. So it's kind of the reality, the reality of how conditional things as a defined, and that is the understanding of the truth of suffering. And the reality, which is the cause, actual cause of the truth, cause of the suffering is the origin, origin of sufferings. That, you cannot just say that because Buddha says the truth of suffering, therefore, that suffering must be truly exist. Buddha says 3 realm is nothing but the mind, and you cannot say that, the Buddha has, mentions no external reality because Buddha says 3 realm is nothing but the mind. No questions?
No.
Chanju Simjo Rinpoche, Majebana, Jeju, Devanyamba, Mevanya, Oneko, Tonya Tawa Rinpoche, Majebana, Jeju, Devanyamba, Mevanya, Oneko, Pama Simjan Tamja, Dedan, Denjuji, Yandotamja, Tado Toma, Chanju Simba Kama Sushu, Dedagunja, Molum Juju, Carrera Roko, Vishamas, Pandan, the Wama, Juma, Jerezama, Dinzen Yazuji, Shabbat, Sedeba,
May the precious body mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. May the precious mind realizing emptiness not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all Father and Mother sentient beings have all the happiness, and may all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful Chinese and Gatso, remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you very much.